Hello everyone, it's me, Natasha Francisco, and I will be discussing today's reading on Navy Blues, U.S. Naval Role on Guam and the Rough Road to Assimilation, 1898 to 1941. Since I'm sharing this reading presentation, I will be focusing primarily on pages 13 to 19 of the reading. With that being said, this article was written by Dr. Perez Hattori. The topic of this document involves the colonial agenda that the U.S. naval government on Guam had from 1898 to 1941. Dr. Hattori's main point in her paper was to showcase that the Navy's projects aimed to transform the Chamorros for humanitarian reasons was actually used to conceal the Navy's hidden agenda for their own interests. Now, let's take a look at pages 13 to 19. Dr. Hattori points out that prior to the U.S. Navy releasing their control in 1950 to the Department of Interior, they released a report that summarized Guam's current conditions and emphasized the good works they had accomplished since 1898. According to this report, the Navy described the Chamorro people as a population that needed their help. So disease-infested, so isolated from the world, so haunted by superstition that it was a listless, ambitionless, unorganized mass of humanity stirred only by the hope for individual survival. The Navy saw it as their duty to not only improve the Chamorro people's circumstances, but to assimilate them into an American society, or to Americanize them. With some historical background information provided, Dr. Hattori sheds light that following the Spanish-American War, Guam was placed under the authority of the U.S. naval government, meaning they had absolute authority over Guam's executive, judicial, and legislative functions. Basically, a military dictatorship, as Hattori puts it. The Navy rule on Guam was a democratic government in which the governed did not participate. The U.S. Navy's stereotypical view of Chamorros allowed naval officers in power to justify their policies, system of government, and treatment of the Chamorros. As the parent in the relationship that the Chamorros shared with the U.S., the Navy's political and socio-economic agenda, or civilizing advancements, were never seen as wrong. Naval officers virtually changed all aspects of Chamorro life, expressing that their policies were always in the best interest of improving their lives. They required licenses for land ownership, midwifery practices, and dog ownership. They also regulated fiestas, ringing church bells, and whistling in the streets. But these new orders put in place were really only to benefit the Navy. For example, Dr. Hattori mentions Governor Dyer, who recommended in 1904 that the Chamorro people attain a higher grade of living, but he only really meant to make Guam a more livable place for Navy personnel. It is therefore incumbent on us for our self-protection and efficiency to give the natives such care as they are unable to get it for themselves, to see that they are kept healthy and free of contagion, to help themselves in ways to make themselves useful to us. This reveals that the U.S. Navy's interests were to have the Chamorro people disease-free in order to have them feed and service the Navy. The Chamorro people basically provided cheap labor for them. The naval governors also ordered labor requirements and a poll tax in order to introduce their cash economy. Navy laws also created new gender distinctions among the Chamorro people, especially women. They imposed their ideas of sexism and patriarchy through gender restrictions on jobs and undermining female engagement in social, political, and economic spheres. They did so by ordering the women and their children to bear the husband's surname and directed their education towards homemaking skills. The Navy just wanted to reduce many of the privileges Chamorro women enjoyed that didn't sit well with their American lifestyle at the time. This concludes Dr. Hattori's article summary for pages 13 to 19. To hear more for the remainder of the article, you can direct your attention to Jerome. Thank you.
Created using Powtoon.